Good evening, everyone. Hope you all do well for Thursday evening. We're back for Formula Sim Series for round 5 of the Formula Sim Series Championship for Tier 1. Hope you all do well tonight. And my name is LFR Indigo, or known as Jamie Morris. Hope you all do well. We're here at the Austria Grand Prix here in the Red Bull Ring, which is one of the shortest tracks on the calendar, 4.3 kilometers long or 2.6 miles long. So, yeah, you expect to see a lot of drivers doing a lot of lap times as here, because you can get away by doing 3 or 4. Unlike most tracks where it's quite long, but we've got a few drivers there coming out of the garage to start their first flying lap. So the strategy around here should be soft to medium or medium to soft. So I don't expect the hard compound tyres to be used unless there is incidents, of course, in the opening parts of the race. But 2 of the drivers are out there so far. One of them is Shizu Joey, and he took pole position back in Brazil and hasn't taken pole since the first opening round. So let's see then what he can do here in qualifying. One of his specialities is the rain. He loves the rain, and obviously it's not raining here tonight here in Austria. Bright and sunny as you expect. Last time we had a wet Austrian Grand Prix was like 2020, I think, when it was qualified, when it was badly wet. I think it was round 2 at the Styrian Grand Prix rather than the Austrian Grand Prix, when it was full wet qualifying sessions there. We saw Lewis Hamilton take pole, and yeah, you can see Joey's already validated it on the exit of turn 8. A lot of drivers have been doing that, but he's slowing the car down to cool the tyres. But in fact, we're going to go on board with Tom then, as he's overtaken Joey. Joey's backing off a lot, so where is Tom? There he is in P12. As we're on board with the Red Bull, also the medium compound tyres. They're making our way to the line to start a lap around here. As into turn 1 we go, they're breaking around the 100-metre board. Down into 5th gear we go on the entry, using all the curb on the left-hand side, using all the exits you get away with without evaluating it. Turn 2, this little turn here, flat tire, easy, coming into turn number 3, uphill, breaking up the 100-metre board. Down into 3rd gear we go on the entry there, kissing the apex, so straighten the car up as much as you can. DRS enabled for the 3rd DRS zone. We expect to see a lot of opportunities to overtake, especially down into turn 4. Downhill into turn 4, here we go. A lot of drivers tend to lock up on the entry, but not Tom on that occasion as he makes his way out of turn 4. Very nice, a bit of twitch on the exit there, coming out the corner. Coming into turn 6 there, carrying the speed through here into 5th gear. Back on the throttle we go, using all the exit curb which you can get away with. 44.2. Avoiding that inside curb there because it tends to throw drivers away from the racetrack. And turn 8 there, using a lot of curb as you get away with it without evaluating it. As we make our way into the penultimate corner there, down to 6th gear we go, using all the curb on the entry again. And the last corner here, take it nice and easy, coming towards the DRS line. And let's see what our first lap time is. There's a 3.5. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is on the medium compound tyres. Next is Black Box P2, and Jerry goes P2 with a 3.8, then about 3/10 clearer than his teammate in the AlphaTauri. And we've got a few more people across the line then. One of them's a Williams driver. I think the RP is next across the line as he makes his way towards the line. That is going to be a driver on their second flying lap, I presume, because I expect to see a lot of validations first time out. As Noah then makes his way towards the line, and it's going to be a 3.9. And he is currently sat in P3 on those medium compound tyres. We'll see that further down grid. Shender completes a lap to go, or stays in P19. He's going to go for his first flying lap, I think. But yeah, well, you'll see a lot of people go for 2 laps if they validate their first lap, because you can get away with it around here in Austria because the tyre wear is not massive around here. But Tito's gone for a spin at the exit of turn 1, and thankfully does not hit the wall. He gets away with it, and I think he'll get off those medium compound tyres for the time being. As Vicente then makes his way towards the line. What lap time is this going to be? Oh, it's not a representative time, is it? 25.0. So he's going to go for a second lap, I presume, on these same set of tyres. You can see they're oversteering into turn 1 and hasn't validated his lap time. Noah goes 2/10 quicker in the middle sector on his second flying lap on the same set of the medium compound tyres. As Andrea goes into P2 then, behind Tom, and it's separated by 2/10 as Noah then makes his way towards the final corner. Let's see what lap time he can improve on. Let's see that as he makes his way towards the line, it's a 3.6 and he goes P2. Nice lap time there from Noah. 2 laps on those medium compound tyres. And we'll see the medium runs over shortly as we've got Mercedes there across the line to go P4 with Harm, and Simple Shender has got P10 in the Haas. Where's Tito? Tito is out there, but he's currently not on a lap time. Daniel's out there on the medium compound tyres. Yeah, like all of these drivers on the mediums, except Santeri down in last place, who's gone for a set of soft compound tyres earlier on in this session then. Yeah, but about 5 drivers who have not set a lap time so far. Daniel's going to go across the line to start one. Luca, oh, we almost lost it in turn 1 there. Thankfully he did not spin the car like Tito did, but obviously he's going to compromise your lap time. You're going to lose all your time on this straight here as you enter the braking zone. He goes deep into turn number 3, and that's, I dare say that's his lap time definitely over then, as he's lost a huge amount of time by those 2 mistakes in the space of 3 corners then. So we're going to have to back out of that one and think about going on the soft compound tyres. But the medium runs then, early doors, are done, and we can move on to the soft runs then as they put the soft compound tyres on ready for the 12 minutes unqualified. Some of them do 2 laps of the medium compound tyres, just waiting for their time, waiting for the track to improve, waiting for it to rubber in. But Andrea has left the session, unfortunately, so hopefully he's got a spare invite. He can rejoin back the session. But as you can see there, we'll see who's further up the grid, so we can go on board. I think it's yeah, Joey and Tom then very close together. But we'll go on board with Joey this time out as we went on board with Tom. So then Joey makes his way towards the penultimate corner, take a pole position back in Brazil in the wet conditions. But what we're going to do here in the dry conditions is make his way towards the line to start his first lap on the soft compound tyres. Then let's see how he takes turn 1, using all the track on the left hand side. Very nicely into 4th gear, but hesitant going out of there. You can see the car sliding around at the exit of turn number 1 as we approach uphill into turn 2. This left-hander, very easy flat. And coming into turn number 3, then braking at the 100-metre board. Let's see how he takes this one. Kisses the apex on the entry, up to 4th gear to reduce wheel spin. Gets on the throttle very early, and now the 3rd DRS zone as we make our way into turn number 4. Then downhill right-hander, braking at the 100-metre board yet again. Hitting that inside curb there, rotating the car as much as you can. Taking a tight line through here to minimise the distance. We make our way through turn 6 then. Let's see how it takes this one. Stays in 5th gear, carrying the minimum speed. Very nice through there. 44.3, goes 1/10 quicker on his best lap time on the medium compound tyres, riding all the curb into turn 8 as I make our way into turn 9 now. A lot of drivers chucking in 6th gear, 7th gear. Now coming through the final corner into 4th gear, he goes up to 5th immediately. And let's see what lap time he can set. I think he goes quickest. No, he does not. That's a 3.6 on the soft compound tyres, so he's a tenth slower, almost, well, he's a few hundred slower, I must say. But Santeri then goes into P1 with a 3.2, just further behind. What happened to Tom? Tom has invalidated it, unfortunately. He was running behind Joey, but on the course of that lap has made a mistake somewhere, so he's going to go for another one on the same set of the soft compound tyres. Let's see who's closer towards the line. Lynx is coming towards the end of the middle sector, improving by a tenth. He's currently sat in P9 in the Alfa Romeo. We got Williams there to cross the line. Is that Vicente going for his first flying lap? I think yes it is. So here comes Lynx then, coming towards the penultimate corner. Now coming to the final corner he goes, very nice through there, carrying the speed. And let's see what lap time he can set. The Alfa Romeo is a 3.6, and he is promoted up into P4 with that lap time on the board. Yeah, Andrea has joined back, fortunately. Tito goes into P5 in the Alpine. He made a mistake last time out on his medium lap time, but he managed to get a lap in on the soft compound tyres. And Ewan there is going to go for a lap time on his set of fresh soft compound tyres. So let's see then, where is Tom? Tom has invalidated it yet again, unfortunately for him. So this set of soft compound tyres, not making the use out of them, unfortunately. So we're going to have to go on a brand new set of tyres because he is without fuel and he's already done 2 laps on them. So it's the pit lane he goes there to put on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres. Meanwhile, Mercedes driver Harm makes his way towards the line, takes a bit of grass there as he makes his way. Now it's a 3.5 and puts his Mercedes into P3, then splitting both Red Bulls of Tom and Noah in P2 there. Good lap time from Noah in the Red Bull with a 3.2, but again anybody beat Santeri's time of a 3.2. A 63-second lap here is unbelievable how short this track is. 2.6 miles and 4.3 kilometers if I got that right last time out. Zayn has invalidated his lap time, unfortunately. I did a few 5 lappers with Zayn in the 5 lapper lobbies I got invited to. LRB has taken too much curb, unfortunately, and he has invalidated his lap time. Now the problem is, if you're going to go for a second lap time in this late in qualifying, you might find yourself sliding around because obviously you can only do maximum you can do on a set of soft compound tyres is 1 lap anyway because the tyres overheated. And what's happening to Santeri? Oh dear, I think I best get off that before it causes more problems to my eyes. But Black Box is a few hundreds up in the first sector as he makes his way down into turn number 4. Hopefully Santeri has sorted himself out with his issues. I'm not sure if it's happening to him or not, but yeah, I did have a pleasure of seeing that. His middle sector then, a few hundreds up in that middle sector for Black Box. Did he set his best time on the mediums? Nope, it was on the soft compound tyres. So he's slightly improving on his previous best. And now he's making his way towards the final 2 corners then. A bit wider than he would have wanted. There's plenty of time to be found in that final corner there, especially coming towards the penultimate corner. Black Box makes his way towards the line. He stays in P8, but he does improve his time, only just so. So he needs to find more time than that, but I can dare say he can make up more time in the final sector there. He didn't max out the use of the curves, but Andrea has gone for a spin on his medium compound tyres. Interestingly, the only driver out there on the medium compound tyres, so in this later stage of qualifying, I would have thought he would have put on the soft compound tyres going for his soft runs while he can. But still, he's still on the medium compound tyres, so I think it's time for him to go on the soft compound tyres. A simple Shender up into P5, Jerry on a lap time, coming towards the end of the first sector now, heading down into turn 3, hit the apex very nicely there, rotated the car very nicely too. The third DRS zone, 3 DRS zones here. It's going to be very easy to stay in the DRS train if you're under a second. It'd be very hard to pull away from this DRS train unless you're on different strategies, of course, but expect to see a big DRS train in the first opening stint. Now make their way into turn number 6. They used to have difficulties coming to this corner, but it's quite easy with the modern day Formula 1 cars. A 44.2, so he's a 10th up in the middle sector, but you can see him there just understeering slightly coming into turn number 7, and he's backed off, so he decided that lap time is not good enough. And yeah, I think he's lost a lot of time on his Delta anyway, so he decided to save those tyres. As Shizou Tom's getting a lovely tow on the back of his teammate Noah, as the 2 cars ahead of him get out of the way. Noah should now. Yeah, he gets out of the way, so Tom then will have a good tow. And Santeri goes even quicker, and he sets a 3.0. Wow, what a lap time from him. The VSR driver doing a fantastic job. And he's 4/10 clear of Noah in P2. Wow, what a lap time that was. Could anybody get near it? I want to go on board with Shizou Tom. Where is he? Oh, he's invalidated yet again. And he was 2/10 up as well. That 2/10 up could have put him into P2. And he'll be very frustrated with that one, I'm sure of it. Will Tom. So both runs of the soft compound tyre have been invalidated. And Tito then making his way around the penultimate corner. Now coming to the final corner. Let's see what lap time he's got on the board for us. As he makes his way towards the line now, it's a 3.4 and he goes P2. Does the Alpine driver. So on the front row along with Santeri. Can anybody get closer towards Santeri's time in these later stages of qualifying? Where's Andrea? Still on the medium compound tyres, so he's not going on the softs whatsoever. He's just doing lap after lap on those mediums, fueled the car up for more than 3 or 4 laps. So the problem is though, if you leave it too late and you validate your lap time, you have a chance of well, P4 the medium compound tyres is still very good indeed, because best lap time, yeah, still good, because the rest none of them except Tom set their best lap time on the medium compound, soft compound tyres, so it's not too bad. But looks like Tom's gone for a second lap on his set of soft compound tyres. There's the Mercedes driver ahead of him, hopefully it doesn't affect him. Tom was looking to get a good clean lap on the board on the soft compound tyres. 2/10 up in the middle sector, so he's far more time than he did previous lap, but this has to count because his fuel light is popping up. So he's only got one more lap, well, this lap left, and that'll be it for him. Oh, that was so close to validation, using all the curb there as we make our way to the final corner. Let's see what Tom could do as he makes his way towards the line. Is it to be, it's close, it's a 3.2, and he's 2/10 away from Santeri then, so we're getting closer and closer towards Santeri's time. He'll be very happy with that one, and I think he's got enough time to come back in the pit lane. His teammates in the pit lane, but Harv's just validated it in turn number 1. Links there, 1/10 down, he's just validated his lap time. Where's Hyper down in P17, 7/10. Oh, that was so close to validation. The curb pushed him off the track as we make our way towards the penultimate corner. They're currently down in P17. His best lap time was a 4.1, but can he pop himself inside that top 10? Here he comes then as he makes his way towards the line. It's a 3.3, he goes P3. Does Hyper. Massive boost there. Isma is coming towards the end of the first sector. Not seen much from him on the track so far, but first sector then is a 15.7. What's Andrea doing this time? Is he on the medium compound tyres still? In fact, Freddy's on the medium compound tyres down in P15. No, he's not. Sorry, that's the wrong graphic. Yeah, it's the wrong graphic. But Andrea then is currently in the pit lane. Very curious to see if he does come out. I think he should come out the soft compound tyres, because you don't want to start on those mediums, especially when they're 4 or 5 laps old on the inside the top 10. There's always that chance people pushing him down the order, but I'm sure Andrea would prefer the track position. He's just waiting for the very last moment, is Andrea, as he makes our way towards the penultimate corner of Isma. Let's see then, as he makes his way towards the final corner, let's see what Isma's time is. Can he get himself off last place? As it's going to be a 3.1. Wow, what a lap time from Isma, and he pops himself into P2 behind Santeri then, so under a tenth slower than Santeri's time. I talk about our pole man, he's just came out the track right behind Isma, so let's see, can he get himself to the twos? 62-second lap, well 62 and high, but yeah, that'd be very interesting to see. Black Box then making his way towards the end of the first sector, currently sat down in P13. He's improved slightly, but hopefully that traffic hasn't distracted him. And he gets a good exit coming out of turn number 3 there as we get the DRS, third DRS zone. But yeah, main stages of qualifying then. Majority of the drivers are out of the circuit, currently down in sector 2, or on their third DRS straight. I can see, you can see the form up there. A lot of drivers in that particular part of the circuit. Sector 3 very quiet. As we make our way into turn number 6 then, let's see how he takes this one. Very nicely using 5th gear. It's a 44.1. Can this lap time find himself inside the top 10? About a tenth or two can put himself inside the top 10. That's how close it is on this grid. But we make our way now towards the penultimate corner in 6th gear. He goes a bit too wide there, but doesn't invalidate. And wide again in the final corner. And let's see if he can find himself inside the top 10. And it is, no it's not actually, P11. And that's not a bad place to start either, if you're doing the alternate strategy. And Folletti's popped himself into P12 there. Oh, he almost lost it coming out of turn number 1. But Daniel has backed out of it. He's going for his last lap. But OP Zane has spun coming out of turn number 4 there. Did he get the throttle way too early? Did he get on the curb? Did he get on the gravel? But has he lost his front wing? Yes he has, unfortunately. And that is his qualifying over. Yep, front wing's gone. And unfortunately for him, he'll start down in P18 or lower. But Isma has retired. Santeri has invalidated on his first to last qualifying lap. So he's only got one more lap on the board then if he wants to improve on a 3.0. Harv's just crossed the line to start a lap. Tito is coming towards the end of the middle sector. He's few hundreds up in the middle sector, so he's found a bit of time. Oh, he's gone wide there through turn 8. And so, unfortunately, he has invalidated his lap time. What's Tom doing? Tom's coming to... Oh, he spun! And yeah, that's his qualifying over. Second driver to do that in qualifying. Unfortunately, just couldn't find a lap time. Tito making his way towards the line, but very curious to see what other people... Lynx is a few hundreds up in the middle sector. But I want to keep an eye on Santeri. He's coming up towards turn number 3 right now. As we make our way into the penultimate corner. He's just invalidated that lap time as Lynx. He'll be very frustrated, but I think he's got enough time on the board to go for another one. The problem is doing 2 laps on the same set of tyres consecutively means that he won't have the temperature that he wants to start to fly lap, otherwise the tyres will overheat. And Lynx, Santeri then, a few hundreds down in the first sector. Let's see what the middle sector like. He's found more time. This could be in the 2s, you know, very close towards the 2s. As he's pushing the limits of the track then, as we make our way towards the penultimate corner. Can we find ourselves in the 2s? Very nice penultimate corner indeed. Now coming to the final corner. He's got a bit too wide, and that's the validation. Let's see, it's a 2 point... No, it wasn't a 2.9, it was a 3.0, so he remains on pole position. But he couldn't get in the 2s, unfortunately for him. A lot of drivers have validated in the last part of qualifying. We've got Joey then on a lap time as he's making his way towards that last few corners. Chucks the car in there, 6th gear, riding the curb, coming through the final corner. Does he go too wide? Yes he does, and he does not invalidate. So he makes his way towards the line. It's P8 for him. And Andrea then, has he set his best lap time on the mediums? Yes he has. Andrea has set his best lap time on the medium compound tyres. I bet he'll be looking for somebody to push him outside the top 10. No. So Andrea then has done about 5 laps on the medium compound tyres, plus the formation lap, so currently sat down in P10 on the old medium compound tyres. But that is fine done then. In fact, what happened to him? I thought the graphic said old medium compound tyres. Where is Andrea? P3. Yeah, I had a bit of a graphics issue there, as he did leave the session earlier on, so apologies about that. But Santeri then is on pole position ahead of Isma, Andrea in P3, Tom in P4, Hyper P5 ahead of Tito, Harm in P7, Noah in P8, Joey P9 and Lynx in the top 10. Daniel with the highest media runner in P11 ahead of Black Box, Freddy, Simple Shenders, Ewan, Luca, Racinti, Steph, OP Zane and LRB, who did not set a lap time on the soft compound tyres. So that's the top 20 then going into the race. Also, looking a bit overcast there. Cool weather played to a factor at the Austrian Grand Prix. And as you can see there, well, not evenly split, but Black Box has decided to go for the soft compound tyres further down the field then, so he'll be looking for an aggressive strategy on those soft compound tyres. Yeah, but look at that, looks like it's a bit cloudy out there. You can see there, just dust coming off the ground, the track. But CPI Daniel then the highest medium winner in P11, let's see what he could do on the alternate strategy. LRB looking to make up ground after the disappointing qualifier session. His fellow teammate is up there in P2. It's going to be an interesting race. However, while this formation lap is on, we don't have Jensen. I think Ewan's taking his place in the McLaren, but it is Jensen who leads the championship ahead of Bolan in the Haas, and I don't think Bolan's here either. It's Simple Shender who's in the Haas, and Steph. Tom P3 is currently sat at P4 in the grid so far, so it looks like he can make up some ground after the two not being here, so it looks like he could provide himself potentially leading the championship. After this race he could finish in P1. Isma in P4, Links in P5, Andrea P6, Joey in P7 in the championship, Jackson, Vicente P8, Jackson P9, Noah Jones inside the top 10, and his currently reserve driver is North outside the top 10. The gap between the top two in the championship is 11 points, and further back the gap between Tom and Bolan is about 4 points, so I think Tom could gain a lot of points on Bolan. He's a perfect race, does Tom. He found himself fortunately DNFing back in USA. But anyways, all 20 drivers out on the track so far and ready for the 36 lap race for round 5 at the Austrian Grand Prix. Then we're just waiting for the lights to go out, and let's see what happens at the start of the grid then. There are the lights, 3, 4, 5 lights, and we're going to be underway for round number 5 of the Austrian Grand Prix. And it looks like Isma's got a better start than the McLaren driver. Look at the Red Bull going down the inside of Andrea as they go side by side into turn 1. Then who will make it out ahead as we make our way out of turn 1? The Mercedes and McLaren spun, and he's taking somebody with him. That looks like an Aston Martin from the background there, but looks like Isma then is going to go down the inside off for Santeri. Andrea's going to go down the inside of Tom, but Isma takes the lead of the Grand Prix. The Williams looks like he had a bad exit, and he's also lagging as well. Unfortunately, he's dropping further down the field, so Tom remains in P3, Hyper in P4, Joey in P5, Andrea back up into P4 with lagging issues. That's going to be a issue throughout the whole race, unfortunately. Hopefully he doesn't make contact with anybody. Hopefully there's no issues there, but Joey in P6 ahead of Tito, and yeah, Andrea's lagging issue is going to be a massive problem. Hopefully somebody in the party or somebody watching the stream can tell him about it. But yeah, Hyper's got past Andrea. What's happened to him? He's dropping. Oh, he's spun actually, so I'm quite sure if that's the case. But look at Links, they're going side by side, and he almost spun there in the pit lane as Black Box there remains in P8 ahead of Links. And however, they got a good run of their teammate here as Fleddy then has been overtaken. In fact, Links overtakes him back for P9, and Fleddy stays, but we've got more contact further down the field. Is that a Haas? That's a Haas who's gone for a spin at turn number 1. So it looks like Ewan then was the McLaren driver who got involved in the first lap incident, as Noah then has got past Tito, and he moves himself up into P6. Has the Red Bull. I'm just looking to see what's happening further down the field there. He's got plenty of yellow flags out of the circuit, but it looks like that the McLaren driver made contact with somebody at the start of the race and got sent to a spin. He hit the wall, but it's not in the pit lane, so must have got away with it with no front wind damage, as it seems, has the McLaren driver. So Isma then got a really good start. They went side by side into turn 1, and then they both came out side by side into turn 1, head up the hill into turn 2 and turn 3. But Isma took the inside line and took the race lead away. But look at that, looks like Isma's in the pit lane, and he's got a 5-second tyre penalty. What? Okay, that's a bit confusing there. Why would he do that? Did he pick up for wind damage? No, he hasn't, so that's a strange retirement for Isma. I wonder what happened there. I don't know if he I don't know what happened actually, but Black Box then is right at the back of Tito as he makes his way down the inside into turn number 3. Has he got the move done? They're still side by side going at the corner. They both have DRS, but the Williams has gone for a spin. That's the Alpine, sorry, I think it is. And yes, he's gone for a spin, and the virtual safety car has came out of the race to neutralise things. So what's happened down there? That is Andrea, who's gone for a spin and hit the wall where Valtteri Bottas did back in 2019 in the practice session. And unfortunately, Andrea looks like he's out of this race then. I'm hoping for a full-blown safety car, not a virtual one. But yeah, Santeri then leads the Grand Prix ahead of Isma. If somebody can give me an explanation to why Isma retired, I'm not quite sure what's the case though, unless he had to go for something, of course. But the virtual safety car is away, and we can get back to racing speed there with Tom then, currently in P2. It's looking very nice for his championship indeed, because his main rivals are not here tonight, Jensen and Boland. Andrea has retired from the session, unfortunately. Tom goes a bit wide, and so does Hyper coming out of turn 1 then, so you can see the understeer kicking in for those two. But Joey then, currently in P4, but he's outside the 1 second range of DRS, currently under threat from Noah Jones behind. You can see there Joey defending the inside line, but he hopes to stay in DRS range of those guys ahead, because the train looks like it's breaking up, and Joey does not have the DRS. Noah can capitalise on that and take Joey on into turn 4 with the help of DRS. Now he overtakes him down into turn number 4. And he's 1.1 seconds away from the top 3 then, who are putting pressure on Santeri ahead of him. And the use of the DRS train is breaking up slightly between 4th downwards. Noah would love to get in this DRS train. He can use these corners to try and get back in the DRS train while those guys are stuck in dirty air. But Santeri then leads ahead of Tom, and somebody's gone for a spin, and that Simple Shender has spun where Verstappen spun years ago, unfortunately for him. That's a massive shame there for Simple Shender. I'll look at the comments as let's continue this race. But we're heading up to lap 5 out of 36, and it's just a patient waiting game. It's Hyper there getting wobbly into turn 1, going sideways there. Noah sets the fastest lap of this race, using a lot of ERS to try and stick within this DRS train, because once you're out of it, it's very difficult to claw your way back in. You can see Lynx then is right behind Tito as we make our way into turn number 1. Tito stays ahead, but he does outbrake himself slightly, but stays ahead of Lynx for the time being, and he has DRS as well to try and assist him. Gotta be careful that he doesn't break out the DRS train either. The gap was about a second, but he's down to 7/10 as he goes wide into turn number 4 then, trying to spot his braking point, carrying more speed than usual with the help of DRS. Lynx continuously putting pressure on the RP driver ahead of us there, and the gap is linked at about 1 second, so Lynx then can see that happening ahead of him. Got to be careful that the DRS train does not break at this moment in time, otherwise they'll find themselves fighting over P7. The gap is 1.1, so the train has split up between the top 6 and the rest behind him. Tina goes a bit wide, and I think he might have lifted off as well, so he doesn't pick up a warning. But yeah, you can see that Lynx having more confidence on the throttle there as we make our way into turn number 1. Can he get a decent exit and get a good run as Tina then oversteers off the track, and here comes Lynx then with the help of DRS, and Fleddy might take advantage as well of the RP driver. Here he comes then. He also takes advantage, but in fact Tito's going to go back around the outside. They'll both have DRS to the back of Lynx then. It's going to be a drag race all the way down, but Tito gets a better exit with the outside line, and Tom's getting right behind Santeri. It stays behind for the time being, but look at that then, Tito going down the inside of the Alfa Romeo. Has he not got the move stick? Yes he has, but here comes the Fleddy back on the RP driver. And what I spoke about that was the over and under. When Tito outbroke himself, Fleddy took advantage and able to go underneath him and take away P8. So both Alfa Romeos in P7 and P8. And looks like somebody else has gone for another spin. Is that Simple Shender again? Yes, it is Simple Shender. I'd not be parking there if I were you, because it'll affect the driver's eye line. He may be a ghosted car, but still it affects the drivers into the corner, because you can't see the corner properly. But therefore might go a little bit wider than you what I wanted. But you can see then Santeri under massive pressure from Shizu Tom right behind him, saving up a lot of ERS, just picking this moment when to overtake the McLaren driver. They're just setting into a rhythm and just trying to pull away, not fighting each other too much, because they know the medium runners are not too far behind at this stage of the race. So it's just a waiting game so far. When the pit stop starts kicking in, look at that, we've got massive battles going further down the field, but it looks like somebody spun, and that was Lynx who coming out of turn number 3. Looks like he was trying to catch this DRS train, but sadly he might have overdone it, and he's fallen all the way down to P14 on those compound tyres. So yeah, it's a massive shame for him then, trying to close in on this DRS train. He was currently 1.2 seconds out of it, but yeah, might have overdone it so far. And it looks like somebody else has made a mistake further behind, or is that just... That's the Williams that's gone for that's for Cinti, gone for a spin. A lot of drivers struggling here at the Austrian Grand Prix. You can see those tyres overheated. I'm not doing any favours. The car's constantly sliding around. Luckily for him, he's on the medium compound tyres, so it won't be too bad in comparison to Lynx's soft compound tyres. But Andrea has retired from the session, unfortunately. I didn't quite see that, but he is out. And Tom then continuously putting pressure on Santeri ahead of him, as Lynx has retired from the session as well. Corner says a restart, but yeah, I'm not quite sure if the stewards are thinking about that one. OP Zane goes for a lunge down the inside. And Tom then sticking behind Santeri, just waiting for his moment. When will the undercut happen for Tom? When will he decide to pit and get ahead of Santeri? And Tino then gone for a move on Freddy. He's up into P7 in the Alpine. LRB has re-overtaken OP Zane. And he is up into P10. If somebody can give me some information on what happened to Isma, that'd be lovely, because it was just a strange retirement. He had no front wing damage, he had no penalties. I'm not quite sure what happened to him. Oh, Harry says Isma had a battery glitch where he couldn't turn it off. Yeah, that won't help him whatsoever in the traction corner, but somebody else has gone for a spin. And that is for Senti yet again. He's not enjoying it around the Austrian Grand Prix and the Styrian Hills. But look at Tom then, he's right behind Santeri, and he chooses moment to go for a move on him. Up into P1 he goes ahead of Santeri. So I wonder when these two will decide to pit first. But Tito is fighting with Fleddy. A safety car has been deployed. Is that because of simple Shender? He's currently stationary on the track. Yeah, he's slowing down a lot. What's going on with the Haas driver here? Has he caused the safety car by slowing down? Interesting tactics going on there, but unfortunately the safety car has came out to neutralise the race. And I think the soft runners will definitely benefit from this, because they could go to the end on the medium compound tyres, I believe. Does Simple Shedder want to get lapped? What is going on? He's blocking the pit lane. He knows the soft runners are coming in. Hopefully he's not blocking the pit lane. No, he's not. Thankfully, he hasn't. Otherwise, there'll be massive controversy, I dare say, in the red flag. But into the pits there comes Tom, followed by the rest of them. It's going to be a double stack for both Red Bulls there, unfortunately. And Freddy and Daniel will take the lead of this Grand Prix. Santeri then will rejoin in P6. Well, Shender, what it has done for Shender, he's got himself lapped. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to plan there, but Hyper just getting ahead of Steph. So the Freddy leads ahead of CPI Daniel, LRB in P3 ahead of OP Zane. The medium runners are leading this Grand Prix. And Santeri, and Tom's got ahead of Santeri in the pit lane. Looks like Tom got for a move at the right time in the right place, because he just managed to make the move on lap 9 when the safety car came out. And he has the track position over Santeri, but this is going to be very interesting then. How quickly can these guys get ahead of the medium runners? How long will it take, and will there be any contact between those medium runners there? Got to be very careful negotiating your way around those guys, especially we've got your likes of Santeri, Hyper, Steph following you on the brand new set of the medium compound tyres. Oh, it's a massive shame for Isma though. What could he have done in this race if it wasn't for that battery glitch there? I've never heard of that one before, the battery glitch just staying on. But it's a new one in this game. What's happened there? There's been a change of position between some drivers. Hopefully they sort themselves out. As into the pit lane comes Steph. We'll take a break once the safety car comes back in. Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. There's going to be a very interesting restart. However, Steph has put on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres, so definitely a 2-stop for him. Not staying out there with the rest of his fellow medium runners. There's only 4 of them yet left to pit in this race. Fleddy's currently the leader of those guys, with Daniel in P2, LRB in P3 ahead of OP Zane. Hopefully this could be an interesting second part of the race then. How quickly is Shizu Tom going to overtake these guys? Will Santeri follow very quickly as well, as we make our way then onto the penultimate corner, and Fleddy will decide when to go. Just get the extra bit of temperature left in those tyres. The safety car has got it, so he can pull away at any moment if he wants to. How far down of the straight will it be? And off they go then. So let's see who's got caught napping at the safety car restart. LRB is all over the back of Daniel there, but OP Zane then under pressure from Tom right behind him. Tom looking to make his way past. Immediately into turn 1 we go, and he's got the move stick then ahead of OP Zane. Next up on his hit list is LRB, and let's see if Santeri can follow very swiftly there. As look at that, Hyper, Jerry and they were very close contention of each other. As we make our way down into turn number 3, Tom's got past LRB, and you can see Hyper and Jerry go side by side, but Jerry had the outside line, much better traction and a decent exit, and he stays ahead of Hyper for the time being. But where's Tom then? Santeri looking to go down the inside of OP Zane. He's got now 1 car in between himself, and that was very crucial for him because he didn't want to stick behind 2 cars while Tom was able to pull away and put pressure on those 2 guys ahead of him. So Santeri has to follow through as Joey's going side by side there with Hyper. He stays ahead for the time being in P7. You can see Tito in the background going side by side with Black Box there, and Black Box has the high ground and he stays ahead. But look at Santeri all over the back of LRB there. Used a lot of ERS on this lap to try and close in on his rivals. You can see Tom, the 1 car ahead of me, he's fighting for, and he has to get past LRB quite quickly, but he's used his 1 lap allowance of ERS. Might have to think about overtaking him into turn 3, but hits the back of him with the difference in speed, unfortunately. And LRB does go off the track, and Santeri they're looking for a move, and he gets past him with ease. Tom, however, gets past Daniel, and he moves himself up into P2. He will not take on Fleddy in this corner. I thought he would go for 2 for 1, but plays it very safely. As Joey and OP Zane are fighting then. Joey with the outside line stays ahead of OP Zane, and Hyper's looking to get past him as well. Hyper lost the position to OP Zane, but gets past him onto the straight as we head down this turn 4. Look at Noah from a long way back going down the inside of Zane, and I think he's made the move stick. But look at Santeri then looking to get past Daniel as quickly as he can so he can stick with Tom. Tom's got 1 car ahead of him left to try and take the lead of this race. You can see Daniel having much less speed on those older medium compound tyres. We can see there Tom getting past Fleddy. Fleddy didn't make it too hard for him, and Santeri is up into P3. Joey has got past LRB, and he's up into P5 on those fresher medium compound tyres. And DRS is enabled then, so it helps Santeri to get past Fleddy, but Fleddy will have DRS at the back of Tom. I wonder how easy or difficult it'll be for Santeri to get past Fleddy, but Daniel has picked up a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately. Here comes Santeri then, pulls alongside of the Alfa Romeo driver, has to make this move to want to fight with Tom, and down the inside he goes into P2. And look at that then, Joey then is currently sat in a provisional P3 because he's one of the highest medium runners, or new medium runners I must say, and Noe is in P7, he's fighting with LRB, and LRB then demoted down into P8 on those older medium compound tyres. I wonder what happened to those other guys on the fresher medium compound tyres. Steph is on the soft compound tyres looking to make up a lot of ground being on those soft compound tyres, go for that 2-stop strategy, and Joey then crawling all over the back of Daniel. Will take him off for P4, and Daniel backs out of it because he knows it's a losing fight. It'll be inevitable once he get past him. His fight is with LRB and OP Zane on the older medium compound tyres, and Fleddy. Now Joey's on the back of Fleddy then taking on P3. This could be Joey's, I think his first podium of the season, but Fleddy then having a moment in turn 1, allowing Joey to get the run of him. And here he goes then, past the Alfa Romeo. He's currently sat in a podium paint position, is Joey. Can he find himself at the back of the top 2? And look at Hyper going down the inside of Daniel, trying to go past Fleddy, but there wasn't enough space there for him to go past, as Daniel then stays ahead of Hyper. Hyper looking to get past, so he can continue his fight with Joey. He's got 2 cars in between himself and Hyper, so he has to get past this lap, otherwise he'll lose too much time. Can Joey extend that advantage and get a 1-second gap on Hyper behind, so he can drop him outside of his DRS range? Fortunately for Hyper, he's got 2 cars ahead of him, blocking his... Oh, we almost lost him coming out of turn 6, but he's got 2 cars ahead of him, blocking his view, and somebody's gone for a spin further down. That was Steph, and he's on he's on the soft compound tyres, and somebody else is retired. That's Vicente, who was retired. Did he crash somewhere? I'm not quite sure, but Hyper then. I thought that'd be a safety car, but it's not. As Terry has had the fastest lap of the race. Hyper looking to get past, but the guys ahead of him have DRS as well, so it'll be even more difficult for the Hyper to get past. He's just looking for the extra grip into those corners. Is this his chance? Daniel's in his fight with Fleddy, and here comes Daniel then on Fleddy. We'll watch those two fight on ball with Hyper as they go side by side into turn 2, but look at the inside line, creeping up as a Red Bull, and Hyper with the outside line should get a better exit, which he does do. Nice try from Noah there to get past Hyper. Daniel gets ahead of Fleddy, but Hyper, is he going to go down the inside? He looks to do, but look at Noah trying to go around the outside. They're going side by side into turn 4 we go. Looks like Noah's got a better exit. Yes, he has. There's a good move there from the Red Bull driver. And now he's the one putting pressure on Fleddy ahead of him. The old medium runners do quite well to stay ahead of these new guys on the medium compound tyres. You can see the Noah's car standing all over the place, but as you can see Santeri crawling over the back of Tom there. The top two have the 5 of their own because Joey's currently outside the DRS range of both of them. But Noah then crawling over the back. Oh, Fleddy putting him with massive pressure. But seems to be doing well coping under pressure with those guys on the fresher medium compound tyres. Lap 17 out of 36 there, nearly there on the halfway point of the race. But look at that, Fleddy's off the track. I'm not quite sure if he got pushed by Noah there, or that was the, unfortunately, Santeri there right at the back of Tom looking to make his move very soon. But Steph has retired in the pit lane. And down into turn 3 we go. Tito's on the inside of Fleddy. And unfortunately for Fleddy, he's lost 2 positions there. And there goes Noah on Daniel. Hyper has to follow through shortly. There goes for Santeri on Tom. As we go 3 wide into turn 4. Mercedes and Daniel backs out of it knowing it'll be a lost fight. And Hyper then making contact with the side pod of the Red Bull. They're still making contact to go side by side into turn 6. And looks like Noah then takes away from 4th place. And Ewan is currently putting pressure on Daniel. He's dropped back to 12th. I think he might have front wind damage judging by the way he's driving. Unfortunately, made contact with somebody there. And he will have to take a pit stop and put on a brand new front wing. But Noah Jones then 1.7 seconds away from Joey in P3. Can he find himself on the podium? Or has Joey got it in the bag? He's currently fresh air between himself and Noah and Tom. Going to keep that up. He wants to keep Noah out of his DRS because Noah's got a whole train of cars right behind him, so it's crucial for Joe to just stay out of that DRS train. Noah Jones though, can he get himself in that DRS train because he's losing ERS? It's not easy to save ERS either if you're on your own out there. But ooh, I thought for one moment Hyper just hit the back of Noah but gets away with it. So those two swap positions the last lap. Santeri's now ahead of Tom. It looks like those two are going to be on their own for the rest of the race, fighting for the lead. It can be a very interesting stage when it comes to around lap 30. Just staying behind each other, using each other for DRS and saving the ERS as well, because those two got a healthy amount of ERS. Look at that. They know they're not going to use it on each other because they're going to fight all the way towards the last part of the race. Can Noah close on Joey ahead of him? The gap is about 1.6, but also the trouble is he's lacking ERS and he's bringing a DRS train. I have to think about defending more than catching up on Joey, but if he catches up on Joey, it'd be very helpful for him indeed if he could get in that DRS range and try and save some ERS with it. You can see the Red Bull already flashing on the straight as we make our way to Tier 1. Unfortunately, Hyper is lagging. A simple shedder has left the session. Hyper's chance then to get past the Red Bull of Noah, and that's going to be an easy move with the help of DRS and DRS, and he moves himself up into P4. We got a graphic glitch, unfortunately. Ewan on the back, and there he is then down the inside. Goes Ewan on the Ferrari of LRB. And he's also on the fresher medium compound tyres, so that could be easier. LRB dropping positions there due to being on older tyres, but when it comes to the soft stage, should be an advantage there. The gap's just staying the same, but Joa and Hyper are lagging, and Hyper is down in 14th place. There's a massive glitch going on, unfortunately, and it says Hyper's down in 14th place, so he's a ghosted car, and he might have blue flags. Yeah, I think the Aston Martin might have blue flags. There's no blue flags flashing, so I think he's safe for the moment, but we've crossed the line once again. Obviously Noah has DRS because he's a second behind another car, regardless if they're a lap down or not, but Yeah, I hope that graphic fixes itself. And Tom then right in the back of Santeri, but does not go for the move. Just biding his time, waiting for the remaining laps of the race. He'll go for the later stages of the race, I'm sure of it, as many drivers do, just using the DRS train. And you can see there Noah under pressure from Tito right behind him. You can see there the RP driver. Joey's currently 2.7 seconds away from Noah. But can Noah use that DRS of Hyper to try and close in on Joey? Was that blue flags I just saw flashing in the background there? Not quite sure. I'm just looking at the side of the track where I can see blue lights flashing or not to see if Hyper has to. Yeah, there's blue flags, there's blue lights there on the right hand side. Yeah, on the left hand side, there's blue flags. Hyper has to get out of the way, unfortunately. Otherwise, he'll pick himself up a few penalties. Ah, that's a massive shame, this graphic glitch here. Blue flags all over the show, as Hyper then has to let Noah pass. Noah not doing himself any favours, but there goes Tom, and Santeri has taken the lead of the race. We might see those two swapping positions every now and then. But right now they just used each other for DRS to try and pull ahead of Joey. As CPI Daniel has picked up, and there is Hyper there back in P4. There he is, welcome back Hyper. He's now a solid car and no blue flags to his name again. There goes Noah then down the inside into turn number 4. The blue flags have disappeared, and Hyper then is in P5 for real this time. I'm so glad he didn't pick up a penalty, because if you go past like 3 or 4 blue flags, you'll definitely pick up a penalty. But I'm thankful that the game has registered that he's not. In fact, the gap says 35 seconds away, so is there still a graphic glitch, unfortunately. But hopefully the next time out it can sort itself out. We might see a battle for P4 for real. Noah then ahead of Hyper with Tito in P6, Black Box in P7 and Luca at the back of this DRS train. As the graphics are finally sorted themselves out. So lap 22 out of 36 then. And Ewan has got past Freddy, is in the pit lane. Goes the Ferrari Alfa Romeo driver. And Santeri is right at the back of Tom. But Tom stayed ahead for the time being. And somebody's gone for a spin down there. That is CPI Daniel, unfortunately. About 3 drivers have gone for a spin down in turn 8. Quite a difficult corner, especially when you get on the inside line. Inside curb, sorry. But for the time being, Santeri does stay behind Tom. This battle will intensify within like a few laps to go in the race. And look at, I think Luca's gone for a spin. Yes, he has. Oh, Luca has lost traction coming out of turn number 4 there. And has he lost his end plate? I'm not quite sure. But look at Black Box then. Side by side with Tito. And Daniel has retired in the pit lane. He called it quits for a day, unfortunately for him. And Tito then moves himself up into P6 ahead of Black Box. But Luca, will he go in the pit lane? Has he got any front wing damage on that wing? I'm not quite sure. And Tom has picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. That is going to cost him dearly. Santeri can sit behind and relax for the time being until the last few laps. Doesn't have to risk running off the track. But unfortunately Tom has picked up a 3-second time penalty. He'll still finish in P3, but what Tom will fear is a safety car, because if the safety car backs the field up, he'll find himself with the guys bunched up right behind him, and yeah, they might find himself dropping down more positions than he would have expected to. So he's going to keep that 3-second buffer on Joey in P3. What he'll definitely do is will gain on the championship quite a lot. Might take the championship lead. Will Tom at the end of this race with Bolan and Jensen's absence. But we're making our way towards the Puddlesby corner now for Tom and Santeri. On lap 24 out of 36 with 12 laps remaining. Joey's reducing that gap slightly between himself and Tom. The gap is about 3.1 now. That was between Santeri and Joey. Of course, the gap is about 3.6 between Tom and Joey. The thing is though, Tom fighting with Santeri quite a lot. He might find himself under that 3-second window with Joey in P3. Joey, however, might find some company soon, because Noah has closed in quite a lot. The gap was about 2.1 for a few laps ago. Now the gap is about 1.1 seconds, so he's definitely pushing quite hard. Here's Noah. He's bringing Hyper along with him, and Hyper's just made the move down into turn 4. And Joey then might find himself under a bit of threat there from Hyper and Noah. The gap is about 1.1 then. be under a second very shortly if Hyper can keep this pace up. And he'll bring along Noah, Tito, Black Box. We might see Joey under pressure there for the podium pay position. Noah, Hyper, Joey does not have penalties. Hyper then swinging the car in. Looks like the car started quite a lot from Hyper's end. But he hasn't got himself DRS on this occasion. You can see there Joey is also flushing on the straight. They're both roughly on the same amount of EOS. You can see Hyper's used all of it, and unfortunately for him, he has not found himself in that 1 second buffer. But Noah has. Noah will take Hyper on, and he might find himself within 1 second of Joey with the extra DRS at the straight line speed. I think he has. Yes, he has. Noah is in the DRS of Joey then, and this will help him a lot in terms of his race, get on the podium. He tries sticking that DRS stream right behind Joey. The problem is he's got Hyper right behind him and Tito as well, so we have to think about attacking and defending at the right moments in time. But he can use that DRS to his advantage now to try and save some of that lost battery. He's currently low on 5%, so he can find himself saving battery. Now he's in the DRS range of Joey, and that'll help him a lot towards the later end of the race. Joey's going to be very vulnerable, unfortunately for him, because he can't save EOS being alone in P3. But though he's brought the gap down towards Santeria. The gap is about 2.9 now behind Santeria, about 3.2 behind Tom. Still needs to find a bit more time, but I think what we focus on is the guys behind rather than the guys ahead, because the guys right behind him now have got DRS on him. And look at Santeria then, has taken the lead away from Tom yet again. Tom very frustrated that he picked himself up a penalty there. It's all part of the game really, unfortunately, but yeah, as long as Santeria does not pick up any penalties, he should be safe and should take the lead of the race, or the win, it must be said. But Noah then is right behind Joey. That pace he had within those few laps has been incredible, like bringing that gap down, because if you're outside the DRS train, it's very hard to get yourself back in. But despite fighting with Hyper, he's managed to find himself in the DRS range and right behind Joey. You can see there he saved a lot of EOS, because before he was struggling to save EOS. Now he's got quite a little bit in the tank, not much as he would have wanted, but still he can save some of that and store it later in the race when he can use it if he needs to from attacking or defending. But yeah, Noah's done a good job bringing that gap down, and Joey's podium chances are now under threat as he's no longer lonely in the race. He's got Noah right behind him. I wonder how early or late will Noah go for this. It's lap 27 out of 36. Will he go for it early? And will Joe have the advantage of saving the EOS? We'll see as we make our way into turn number 3. Noah does not go for a move there, so will he wait into turn 4, try and get to better exit than Joey? Or will he decide to stay behind him? The problem is that if you stay behind him too much, Hyper can anticipate that move and therefore take advantage, because he'll know Noah will stay behind him for DRS, and Hyper can try and get past him using the EOS slipstream he has in his Aston Martin. Worst places to be so far is Tito and Black Box. I think Tito lost traction almost coming out of turn number 4 there. You saw the car sliding. The gaps increased massively between Tom and Joey. The gap's about 4.1 now between those two. So Joey then having to think about those guys behind. Noah's EOS status is quite healthy now, but being behind Joey. All Joey's not going to do is pick up a penalty. But we're heading on to lap 28 out of 36 then. It's most likely Santeria will win this Grand Prix with Tom's unfortunate penalties, but Tom will likely take the championship lead away from Jensen. But here comes Noah then. Will he make a move? No, he doesn't. He's going to be very careful at Santeria. Look at Black Box going down the inside! Oh, he's made contact with the Aston Martin. And talk about Aston Martin, one of them's gone for a spin at the exit of turn 8. That was Luca. There he is in the Aston Martin, but Hyper getting away with that one. Black Box there misjudging his braking point, or tried to take on one of them, but couldn't slow the car down enough, and unfortunately has hit the back of the Aston Martin. Might sustain a bit of front wing damage on the back of that, on the front of that car. Quite a few people making mistakes in this race around Austria. Well, Black Box coming to the pit lane to change the front wing. Has he got any front wing damage on that AlphaTauri? Looks like he hasn't. Judging by the way he's turning in, it should be okay. Yeah, he stays out there, so no evident front wing damage. Might have green, but it's not worth to pit because there's only a few laps to go in this race. But Noah they're right behind Joey. It looks like he's going to go for a move right now. Will Joey brake for the DRS? Look at Noah, he brakes before Joey so he can get the DRS on him. That's quite a clever tactic. We saw this in Saudi Arabia between Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen. Noah saving a lot of ERS, and there he is then, makes the move as he has a healthy amount of ERS to try and pull away from Joey. Joey saved a bit of ERS as well. I think Joey's tactically slowed down in a few corners, because you can see there the gap's gone from about 3 seconds to about 5.4. There's no way he lost it on pure pace, because I think he was being wise about it, knowing there's the pressure from Noah and Hyper, just slow it down a bit so we can save a bit more ERS. So Joey's thinking about it as well. But now he can start saving ERS right behind Noah. I think he knows that P3 is all he can do in this race is Joey. Now he's got the DRS this time round. He has the advantage of the extra straight line speed down the straights. But misses turn 1 though. Does that open up a door for Hyper? No, it doesn't. Joey then stays there, but look, they're both using the ERS. Hyper's got more he can afford to use. And will Joey think about going down the inside? Yes, he does. I wonder who got to the DRS line first. That was Joey who got to the DRS line first. They were quite close on the DRS line, but Joey has picked up the DRS. I know he's got quite a lot of ERS to spare, but doesn't use it knowing that Joey's got DRS. But look at Hyper, he's going to go down the inside into turn 4 on the AlphaTauri then as they make their way out of the corner. Joey's slightly ahead. Noah's slightly ahead, sorry. And Hyper then remains in P5. Oh, looks he almost lost the car there. I wonder if he was running 50 brake bias as Hyper, because it looks like the car is sliding under braking. He has been sliding quite a lot under braking, has Hyper, so has been braking too late as the rear's been locking up too much. Got to be very careful as Hyper not to lose the car. But he's gave up that track position away from Tito now. He's currently at the back of this DRS train, and Tito has been released from Hyper as he can start making an attack on those two ahead of him. But unfortunately he has picked up a 3-second time penalty. As you can see, Tom then taking the lead of the race ahead of Santeri. Up to P1 he goes for the time being, but will Santeri fight back down into turn number 4. Noah is right behind. There he goes then, Noah down the inside of Joey into turn number 3. Be very interested to see which one of these drivers will pick up a podium. Be unlikely Tito with that 3-second time penalty. But Joey, will he come back with Noah down his turn 4? No, he doesn't. He stays behind for the time being. We're heading on to lap 31 out of 36 there. 5 laps remaining of this race. Who is going to be on the podium? Will it be Noah? Will it be Joey? Or will it be Hyper? Hyper unlikely being stuck in that DRS train. He's got a lot of ERS in his tank he can start to use. And Tito there carrying a lot more speed than Joey on the entry towards the corner, but didn't get the best exit himself. As we head round into the penultimate corner then, as we head on to lap 32 out of 36, Tom leads ahead of Santeri with Noah in P3. And look at Noah's ERS status. He's got a healthy amount of battery he can afford to use, more than a half than Joey behind him. But Joey also could save the ERS behind as well, as Tito's picked up another penalty at the exit of turn 1, unfortunately for him. But Joey then, what lap will he go this for the P3? Will he go for lap 35? Look at Hyper then, he's overtaken Joey. Back up into P5 he goes. And he can try and start putting pressure on Joey and Noah ahead of him. Hopefully he doesn't make mistakes like he did last time out. Joey closed in right behind Noah then as we make our way into turn number 4. But what lap will Joey decide to go for P3? Will it be lap 35 or lap 36? When will he leave it? How late will he leave it to go for Noah? He's got a lot of ERS that he had previous laps before. We're heading on to lap 33 then out of 36 with 3 laps to go. Joey, is he close enough to making it? Yes, he is close enough to make a Noah, but when will it be? I wonder, will he decide to go for a lap 35, give Noah a chance on lap 36 to come back at him? You can see he turned off that ERS there, doesn't want to go for it this early, knowing there's 3 laps to go and giving the advantage towards Noah. He's just biding his time. He's going to be very careful not to get caught out by Hyper as well. Hyper can see he's turned off his DRS. Hyper might be able to use that to his advantage as well, knowing that he's going to stay behind. Hyper will definitely, hopefully, send it down the inside. Might be a thrilling 3-way fight for 3rd place, the final paying podium positions. I think it's going to be all 3 of them going to be very careful not to pick up a penalty in the last few parts of the race, otherwise they'll find themselves off the podium. The gap's extended between second and third to 7.6. There's the old squabble for P3. Look at that, Noah's got 100% EOS despite being the lead car of this DRS trade, so he saved a lot of EOS. He can start to use it then on lap 35 or 36. And Noah's just picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. Yeah, he'll be frustrated with that one, I'm sure of it. And Hyper then, he can see that Noah's picked up a 3-second time penalty. He knows there's a chance of a podium. The podium's between Joey and Hyper. How aggressive will Hyper be on Joey? He's stuck down there in 5th place, being 3rd in the DRS trade. And here comes Joey on Noah. I bet Hyper would love to follow through. Oh, he clips him! And sadly he sends himself into a spin. That's his chance for a podium gone. So as long as Joey doesn't pick up any penalties, he should be able to finish in P3. And they're going side by side into turn 4 we go. Let's see who gets a better exit at the exit of turn number 4. Looks like Noah has. And able to use that EOS out the corner, and he stays in P3 for the time being. But Hyper there, being a little bit too aggressive unfortunately for him, has cost him dearly. And he finds himself in P6. Can he close the gap down between 5th and 6th? Try and get that... I think Tina's got a 6-second time penalty. Yes, he has. So Hyper there can definitely take P5 away from Tino. But he'll be kicking himself knowing they could have found a podium. In lap 35, out of 36 then. Towards Santeri trying to take the lead away from Tom in the last two laps. He's got a lot of EOS. Has Santeri coming into towards turn number 3 right now. Gets a decent exit. Will he challenge him down into turn number 4? As we make our way, not using the EOS, not using the DRS either it seems, so not opening that DRS point. But Joey there right behind Noah, coming into turn number 4. He's not going to make the move either. So it's going to be all down to the last lap. Santeri will definitely take victory, but how hard will Tom find to try and take victory on the track? Lap 35 out of 36 then as we make our way towards the penultimate corner. We're heading on to the final lap on the race very shortly, and we've lost about 8 drivers in this race. I've had a safety car and a virtual, and Santeri then is going to be right at the back of Tom. As he goes, oh, we almost lost it, can't afford to do that. Imagine if he hit the wall. Tom will be very happy with that one because he can extend his championship lead ahead of Boland and Jensen, but Santeri then gets away with it. As I make our way down into turn number 3 then, Tom needs a decent exit coming out of turn number 3. And look at Santeri sliding all over the place. I don't think he'll get him down to turn 4 because he's too far back in Santeri. I think Tom might have this one covered. I don't think Santeri will send it down the inside either because he knows that Tom's got to take a penalty. But look at Joey then, here comes the Noah Jones. Will Noah Jones come back down? No, he won't. He's run out of EOS, unfortunately for him. I'll have to settle for P4. But let's get a decent exit, but Joey shuts that door immediately on Noah. And he will find himself on the podium for the first time this season. Joey, where did he start in fact? He started down in P9. Got to be very careful you don't make contact, otherwise that's both of you are. And let the podium go towards Tito. But here comes Tom then as he rounds the final corner. He's going to take the victory in the Austrian Grand Prix, but Santeri takes it. Good race from those two. And Joey there will make his way towards the final corner to come third ahead of Noah Jones. Tino will finish in P6 with Hyper taking P5 away from him. Black Box will finish in P6. Tino's demoted down into P7 unfortunately for him. So round 5 Austria, and Tom, second place for him. Could have been first, but nevertheless he reduced that championship down, and he might take the lead after this Grand Prix then. So I'll be very happy for P2 because Boland and Jensen wasn't here tonight, so Tom will reduce that championship down. But that is it. The Portuguese Grand Prix should be a very interesting one. I really hope it's a good week. Unfortunately, I've got to dip very quickly, but final send-offs for me. Enjoy your evening, enjoy the Miami Grand Prix this weekend, and hopefully we can have another good race here, round 6 for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Only 3 races left in this championship: Portugal, Bahrain, and the last one will be at Netherlands. But have a good day, everybody. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time out next Thursday for round number 6.